Welcome to Baruch College Campus High School, also known as Baruch High School, to our virtual open house. We're going to present to you tonight. You're going to hear from the school leaders about our school. In terms of housekeeping, we have a chat where you can write questions that will go directly to the hosts. We'll be collecting those questions, and at the end of the session, whichever questions were not answered in our presentation, we will be sure to follow up with an FAQ where we will post those responses on our website in order to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to have their questions answered, and you can focus on the presentation and not worry about having to simultaneously read the chat. So please know that we're gathering your questions. You can write them in the chat, and we will make sure that any questions are answered after the presentation. So let's get started. So we're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves. So I'll begin. My name is Alicia Perez-Katz. I'm the principal here at Baruch College Campus High School. I've been a leader at the school since 2003, and I was a teacher there, a founding teacher at Baruch High School before then. I have always loved Baruch. It's been a big part of my life, as the years have attested to. It's a wonderful school, and I'm going to talk about all the reasons why, but it's a school that I love. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our assistant principal, Mr. Kaiser.
Hi there, everybody. My name is Douglas Kaiser. I am the assistant principal in charge of grades 9 and 10, as well as special education and mathematics, among other things. I joined Baruch College Campus High School in 2016 as a special education teacher, and I have been an administrator for about 8 years now.
Okay. Diana Dorico is our other assistant principal. She will be joining us in a few minutes. So she will be on, and you'll hear from her in a bit. I also wanted to just name a couple other people that were instrumental in putting this presentation together, just to know who the key folks are in our community. Julie Fernandez is one of our guidance counselors. She works in supporting our student ambassadors who lead information sessions and opportunities for our students about our school. And Liz Grove is our parent coordinator, who is working fiercely behind the scenes to make sure everybody is able to join and that interpretation is provided. So Liz is there. If you saw her wave, she's making sure this Zoom is running smoothly. And lastly, we have some student gov reps. Unfortunately, they couldn't join us tonight. They had driver's ed lessons and tutoring and jobs and all kinds of things. They're very hardworking young people, but we're going to have an opportunity at the end of our presentation for a short video where you can hear from some of our current students as well, because we know our kids always speak the best about our school. So a little bit about our school, just some highlights, just some awards that we've had, just to name. We were ranked number 23 this year in the U.S. News and World Report among New York City public high schools. A school of 480 students. We're very proud to be in that recognition. We also feel that while we are a screen school, and we'll talk about that, we do serve a broad range of learners and are able to challenge our students from all levels to really achieve and grow. And that's some of what this shows, as well as the opportunity to take a lot of advanced placement courses. The College Board, on that note, we were placed on the AP School Honor Roll last year, and that indicates the number of students that not only take AP classes, but pass the exams at our school gives us the honor roll distinction relative to the number of students enrolled in our school. So a high percentage of our students achieve that accomplishment. We have some great partnerships. We are a small school, as I mentioned, but one of the things that we do is try to leverage partnerships because we are right in the heart of New York City, to give our students all kinds of opportunities. So we have a partnership with Rock the Street Wall Street, which is a financial and investment literacy program. They have women who work in Wall Street in business come in and mentor and guide young women in our school. They have the opportunity to visit offices and think about careers in finance. We also have a partnership with an organization called Pencil, which partners businesses with schools. We have our students work with a media company called Outfront Media. We have a group of students who meet with them as well regularly, learn career readiness, and get the opportunity to visit their offices as well. And we have some dual credit courses that we're going to talk about in a little bit, partnered with SUNY Geneseo for an ecology class. Baruch College, of course, is our name, and we have some partnerships with them, including our students having access to the university basketball courts for our varsity and JV varsity teams, and the library for students to use, and also some great databases and working with the librarian at Baruch College Library. All of our students have access to. We also have some dual credited courses that our upperclassmen complete at Baruch College, which is just 2 blocks away from our campus. And lastly, we are, again, a grant recipient for an arts partnership to support students with disabilities and English language learners. But this program supports all of our students in the 9th and 10th grade. We partner with Roundabout Theater, where artists come into the classroom and our students go to see a Broadway show, which is very exciting. And that gives our students more access to the arts in a small school. So I'm going to talk a little bit about just what grounds our philosophy and our approach to instruction and what makes our school unique in terms of what is Baruch and how do we stand out. For us, we have a strong focus on the instruction that's delivered in the classroom and the way that teachers plan that instruction, and how students approach their learning. For us, we anchor our focus as a whole school community in the 4 core values of rigor, community, real-world connections, and global citizenship. When we talk about rigor, one of the things I always like to share with families and prospective students is that rigor does not mean hours and hours of work at home. Rigor means critical thinking. It means opportunities for students not to just memorize facts, but to think about the why, to blend in those real-world connections, and to think about the world as a global citizen. All of those factors combined allow for rigor. So we are always looking for ways that students are having what we call minds-on learning. That is rigorous learning. We also, none of that work can happen without a strong sense of community. What I personally feel that Baruch does very, very well as both a parent myself of 2 teenage children and a lifelong educator is that we have strong academics, but we also have a very strong sense of community and support as a small school. And we spend a lot of our resources, and you'll hear about how we do that, to cultivate a nurturing and caring and tight-knit community. Our school-wide beliefs are how we ask our young people to show up in the building. We're not just teaching children, we're actually teaching adolescents who will be leaving us as young adults. And so a lot of our work is how are we supporting them as they figure out who they're going to be as they grow up and how they're going to be as they become more and more independent and will leave us for jobs and college and so forth. So we have what we call our 3 E's, which are we are empathetic, we are enthusiastic, and we are extraordinary. And that's how we anchor how we talk to, how we are with one another. We care about each other, we care about our learning, and we try to be our best selves. And we didn't use excellent as one of our E's intentionally because excellence means high pressure and it's kind of done and fixed, and extraordinary is I'm trying to be my best self, which is all we can ask of each other. And lastly, these are our goals that we're working towards this year as a school. We talk about these both with our teachers and also our students to think about how are we supporting our students to become more independent learners. And so to do that, we have 4 areas. They overlap with our core values, as you'll see. How are our minds on in class? So that's the critical thinking and rigor. The students are actively making meaning of their learning. What are we learning is relevant to ourselves. One of the things we talk about, like in our English classes, is that literature are mirrors, windows, and doors to identities throughout time. We know how we're doing and how to improve. How are students getting feedback on their learning? How can they take ownership and reflect on their own learning? And how do they know how they're going to progress, as well as families? How do they know how to support their young people in school? And lastly, as I said before, our classes are a safe and supportive environment. None of this can happen without feeling a sense of safety. You won't take risks as a learner unless the environment is one that nurtures that risk taking. So that's really what it is. And then the last thing I'll say is we talk about our students, they are Baruchians. So you see this term, and a Baruchian is someone who does all of those things and really sees value in their ideas. So now I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Kaiser, who's going to talk more detailed about our academic courses that we offer in our programs.
Hi there, everybody. My name is Mr. Kaiser, and nice to speak to you again. I know it's just on, so I don't really need to introduce myself again. Here's a snapshot of our course sequence. It's pretty typical in a lot of ways and at other major high schools in New York City. But there are some interesting things to point out that that may be a little bit more unique to us. One thing I like to point out is in our arts in grade 9. Students take art twice a week, and they take health twice a week all year long. And then in grade 10, they take art the whole year. And another thing I'd like to point out is our world languages. We have Spanish. So depending on where you took what Spanish you took in 8th grade, or if you took Spanish or not, you might start in Spanish 1 or Spanish 2. But all our students can take Spanish for all 4 years, and we have advanced Spanish courses in grades 11 and 12. English is pretty standard, grades 9 and 10, but in 11 and 12, there are opportunities for AP classes. Math, we have a very advanced math classes in grade 12, including college calculus and AP calculus. And even though you might start in a different place in grade 9, depending on what you took in 8th grade, all students, no matter what class you take in grade 9, all students could qualify for our most advanced math classes. And one other thing I'd like to point out is our science department at Baruch College Campus High School. Every student takes a life science, chemistry, and physics. All students take a life science, chemistry, and physics by the end of 11th grade. And then in 12th grade, we have opportunities for advanced science classes, and then social studies, standard social studies in grades 9 and 10, but we have AP classes in grades 11 and 12. So there's a little bit about our academics in general. Here's a little bit of a snapshot in 9th grade, and I alluded to it when I did the overall for the whole school, but some things to point out is, like I said, you might have a slightly different schedule depending on what Spanish, math, and science class you took in grade 8, particularly if you earned Regents credit, for example, in math or in science. So all our students take a life science in grade 9. So if a student is taking biology in grade 8 and they score well on the biology Regents in June this year in grade 8, then they would likely go into our ecology class in grade 9 in science. Similarly with math, if you are in algebra as an 8th grader and do well and score well in the Regents, then you probably go into our geometry class in grade 9 and move forward. And like I said with Spanish before. So it's a little bit about 9th grade, and then in 9th grade, you really bedrock gets developed in all our students in the way we like to teach and the way we like to learn, which is really hits all modalities. So there will be Socratic seminars, there will be project-based learning, there will be essays and papers, and there will be Regent-style exams. So we really like to teach, assess, and develop learning in all the ways that students learn and develop. And that begins in grade 9. We can move on. So a little bit more about the 9th grade transition. You know, it is a big step. I went through it in a way. I taught middle school for 9 years before I joined Baruch College Campus High School. So I had my own sort of transition. But it is a big transition going from middle school to high school. And we do things to prepare students for that. You know, we are a school that have students from all 5 boroughs, students coming from I don't know how many different middle schools. So they're coming in 9th grade and they're making new friends and they're making new connections. And that could be exciting and it could be scary. And I get that. Those are normal feelings for a youngster to have going into high school. So we do a lot of things to sort of make that transition as successful as possible. One example is our community building field trip that we have every year in 9th grade, where we'll go to a space. This year it took place in Central Park, and students will be randomized and in mixed groups with likely with other new ninth graders who are not in the same classes as them, so they have more chances to make even more friends. And then they go through a series of events and challenges throughout the day on that field trip. And it's a really successful field trip that we do every year. We also have a seminar course in grade 9. That's a course that happens in the middle of the day. Again, it's a course that students will likely be in groups with other ninth graders that they don't have most of their core classes with. So it's a way to get to know other ninth graders. But another really cool thing about that class is that they once a week they meet up with mentors in grades 11 and 12, and those mentors in grades 11 and 12 really help the ninth graders sort of acclimate and become a Baruchian. And other things happen in that seminar course that prepares students for high school, like how study habits, study skills, how to take notes, how to manage your time effectively in a high school where there's maybe more considerable work and study load than the students are used to. So the seminar course really goes a long way in helping the students acclimate to high school, the greater responsibility. I think I touched on most of the things there. We could probably go to the next slide. Moving on, one of my other items in my portfolio is special education. I taught special education in middle school, and then for a few years at Baruch, becoming an administrator. And now I supervise the special education department. So the special education at Baruch College Campus High School is rooted in our ICT program. We typically have 2 ICT sections out of 4 sections in grades 9, 10, and 11. Our special education teachers in those ICT sections are content specialists as well. So in grade 9, for example, if a student has an IEP and they're in ICT sections, and they have 2 teachers, their special education teacher for English is a special education English teacher. They will also have a special education math teacher, a special education science teacher, special education social studies teacher. We really take a lot of effort and pride in building content specialists out of our special education teachers and having strong working partnerships and relationships between those co-teacher partnerships. In addition to the ICT program, we do have in-house related services, including Spanish and guidance counseling. However, if there are other related services on a student's IEP that we do not have a provider in-house for, the Department of Education will typically send a provider to our school to service that IEP need. So any service that is on an IEP will then be serviced at our school, either with an in-person provider or someone that DOE sends temporarily on a once a week basis. We are dedicated to preparing all our students for learner independence, as there are no IEPs at college and university. So what often happens at Baruch College Campus High School, over the course of 4 years, students may have decrease of services when they're ready at their own pace. And often that turns out that most students who enter our ICT program in grade 9 will probably have services reduced to sets by grade 12. And that's just part of the transition of preparing students for learner independence and readying them for college and university where there are no IEPs or special education services. And just a little bit about our E&L program. We have English as a new language learner services at Baruch College Campus High School. Our E&L providers are teachers at Baruch College Campus High School who are certified to teach students in an inclusive setting. So similar to ICT, they will go into academic classes and they will co-teach with that academic class. And while they're co-teaching, they will be providing English as a new language learner services to students in their regular classroom to make sure the students who are learning English can access the curriculum that is being taught. I think we're ready for the next slide.
Thank you, Mr. Kaiser. Hello, everyone. My name is Diana DeRico. I'm one of the assistant principals at Baruch. A little bit about me: before I was an AP at Baruch, I was an English teacher for about 20 years in our community. I'm born and bred as an educator here at Baruch, and I have very strong ties to the community. I also act as the athletic director, so you'll hear from me later. I'm going to speak a little bit about our advisory program, and it has a lot of the same goals as what Mr. Kaiser was just sharing, the different ways that we welcome our ninth graders into the building and support them. So the first thing I want to share about advisory is that it meets every single day. It is our version of homeroom. So 5 days a week, every single day. And you can see it's circled there on our bell schedule. It's a short session, about 12 minutes, but we really try to have it pack a punch in terms of its purpose. So we can go to the next slide, please. Yeah, so this is like an at a glance of our routines. We find that it's really helpful to use this time in a consistent way each week. So the first thing about advisory that's important to know is when our official attendance is taken each and every day, and each room in the building is following the same slide deck and the same plans for the day and the week. So on Mondays, we do announcements, and that's when our students find out about all sorts of opportunities, what's going on in the building. We celebrate accomplishments. There might be updates about students of the month or a recent success in the sports. You might have an opportunity like an extra help program or a club meeting or an affair. There might be an update about something like a field trip that's going on if there's a special schedule. All sorts of things that are happening in our building or for our students are announced on Monday. On Tuesdays, we call it Trivial Tuesday. It's not really trivial. It's an intentional set aside of time for doing things that are fun, playing games, having choice time, listening to music. And we often have our students watching a 411 show episode, which was made by other students about different goings on in the building. It's like a television broadcast. On Wednesdays, we have one-on-one Wednesdays. So at Baruch, we really value getting to know our students well. And so we have different ways that we do this, but every Wednesday is dedicated to checking in with our students. We often survey them on how they're doing socio-emotionally, what's going on with them. We might talk about things like their academic progress, how they're doing in their classes, taking a moment to look at their grades more specifically. Other times we're doing check-ins on anything from extracurricular activities to, plans for an upcoming break. On Thursdays, our college and guidance counselors come and help us plan Thinking Ahead Thursday. And that's when we're dedicating time to thinking about our plans post high school, which is obviously an important part of your 4 years in high school. So thinking about our careers and our possible choices for post high school life. Those different lessons could look anything like thinking about our soft skills on our resume or how to write a cover letter, what different college trips are coming up and things of that nature. Friday, we call Family Friday, and we do community building activities. That might be a discussion or a circle or an interactive game of some sort that's designed to get people talking and knowing each other better, or maybe commenting on something like a current event or something important that's happening at Baruch. And sometimes Family Fridays are also days where we would do something as a whole school, like have a certain contest or something that every advisory enters. We can go to the next slide, please. These are just photos to show you the different kinds of goings on. We can see Lavana on the left. She's doing like a meditative pose. We had like a mindfulness day. You can see students building towers out of paper, doing different kinds of activities. Sometimes we're coloring or we're playing different kinds of games. And all the way on the right is one of our teachers, Ms. Benowitz, and she's smiling because that was her first advisory party of this year. So it's also a time and a place for kids to come together and just sort of break bread, have fun, laugh, and get to know each other. Another really important thing about our advisory program is that it's always existed at Baruch in some iteration, but just the past couple of years, an update that we made to it is it's intergrade. So it's 9th through 12th graders all together, and they stay together as a family for all 4 years. So each year, obviously, a crop of seniors graduates, and we welcome in new 9th graders, but that same group of kids from different grades is mixing together, giving our kids an opportunity to have sort of like built-in mentorship from their peers because they're mixing up with kids from other grades. And we're really happy about that change.
Okay, so now I'm back, my camera back on, and to talk about college and career readiness. So I had mentioned earlier when I started that one of the things that I truly love about Baruch is both the community and the academics. And so Mr. Rico just shared with you about how we build community, and you're going to hear more from her after this. And then we also have our academics, as Mr. Kaiser shared. I wanted to talk just a little bit more detail about our advanced coursework opportunities. So all of our courses at Baruch High School are at the honors level, starting in grade 9. We are a screen school, and so all of our courses are coded as honor level courses. And then starting in grade 11 and 12, our students have opportunity to take another level of advanced coursework, which are either AP courses or dual accredited university courses. The dual accredited courses is where we've been adding new courses to our school community. You can see the AP courses listed on the slide. So we have basically 2 math, 2 science, 2 English, and 2 social studies available in grades 11 and 12. For students, any student who is interested in taking an AP class has the opportunity there's a very simple application. They just show their interest, and we ask that students have met a certain academic benchmark in that subject area the year prior so that we know that they're ready for the course. So if you're a strong math student, but maybe English isn't your favorite subject, that's okay, because if you have, let's say, the 85, what have you, in math, you can go ahead and take AP statistics as an 11th grader. What we've added are the dual accredited courses. So we've always had courses with Baruch College. That's part of our founding as a Baruch College high school. So our students in 12th grade can take, it's our highest level of math course. It's Calculus 1 and 2. Students do take a test to be accepted into that course. And they earn college credits from Baruch College that are also transferable to other universities. Students take that class directly after school, and then during the day, they are not enrolled for another math class. So that is their both high school and college math class taught by a university professor. We also have an elective that our upperclassmen take called social protest movements. That's new this semester. So that can change from year to year depending on what the university has to offer. In the past, we've also had computer science as an example of an elective course at the college level, where students are earning both high school and college credit. This year, we just piloted SUNY Geneseo Science of Natural Disasters, in which one of our high school teachers is certified to teach the SUNY course and collaborates with the college to teach it to our students during the school day in live time. And then lastly, we have with the Educator Equity Lab, it's a program where we're partnered with Dartmouth University. This is an online course. We have a science teacher of our own that's helping our students understand the material. And then the students listen to a lecture by a Dartmouth professor. And then they have a teaching assistant from Dartmouth University who zooms in and supports them. So the students are literally joining the college class from New York City. What's great about the dual accredited courses is that students are earning college credit from completing the course, and there's no exam required. So that is why we've been trying to increase those opportunities for our students. And as you can see, we have a wide range of subject areas because we are not a specialized school in terms of academics. Rather, we are preparing students in all areas of academics to meet those needs. These are some of the colleges that our students have attended. The list is very long. You can see more on our website. But I just like to point out that we have students going pretty much everywhere from a local to CUNY to as far away as the American University in Paris. So the United States, overseas, public, private, big, small. And we do that through a dedicated counselors who work with our students. We have 2 full-time guidance counselors that support the college process and work with our students from grades 9 through 12. In addition, we have a part-time counselor that supports with our college process. And then we also have a full-time social worker who helps our students with their social and emotional needs as well. And so we are able to ensure that all students are getting the same access to information about the college process. So as you'll see here, this is an example of just the other week. We had different universities coming and speaking to our students where they have the chance to talk to colleges one-on-one and have that chance to get to know them. And then lastly, it's not just college, but it's also career. So as Mr. Rico shared, on Thursdays in advisory, we do Thinking Ahead Thursdays. Our college counselors plan lessons and activities for students to talk about whether it's how to build a resume, how to write a cover letter, what is a soft skill, etc. So that is built in for 9 through 12. We also have some career lessons built into our seminar course, which Mr. Kaiser mentioned briefly for our 9th graders. We have computer science. Our 10th graders, all 10th graders at Baruch take computer science as an elective, and that is where they're able to learn Python coding. And that is through, the curriculum is through a grant with Microsoft and Amazon. We have 2 different grants. We also have a financial literacy course that's available to our 10th graders and another one that's available to our seniors. And journalism. I like to talk about this elective because we're one of the few schools that has a school newspaper, and our teacher has been highlighted, as you see in this Chalkbeat article that was from last year, in terms of the work that he's done to build a journalism program. Everything from, we have our website, you can read our school newspaper online. It's linked on our website, but we also have broadened to broadcast journalism and podcasts, and kids are very excited about learning and how to be a part of the reporting in our school community. And lastly, we have a career fair every year. So here are some pictures from both college visits and our career fair. What's great about our career fair is it's one of the few times that high school students are okay letting their parents come in and talk to their peers. So pictured on the left actually is a Baruch parent who's talking to some students about her career. We also have some Baruch College safety agents. We have the NYPD. We've had all different types of careers. We really try to find a wide range. And that's a great time. Every year we pick a different month and make some connections to the month it's connected to. Last year it was February, so we made connections to Black History Month and highlighted, professionals where we can. But we've also done, I think, Women's History Month and highlighted women professionals. And so every year we pick a different month, but then we have all kinds of careers as well. And then those are some of our college visits. Our counselors take our students up to Stony Brook, Skidmore, as pictured below. And so now Mr. Kaiser is going to take you a step into what's happening at Baruch recently.
Yeah. So we like to keep school cool. And it's interesting, right? When you have students from all 5 boroughs and they're making friends, and one of the things in my portfolio is safety and discipline. So at the end of the day, when I'm making sure that school is empty and we're ready to go home, and there's always crowds of students who just want to stay and hang out. And I like to think it's because we make school a happening place to be. So some of the ways we make school happening is, one thing we do is every month we have a student of the month, and it's often by category. So it is by category. So starting in October of this month, our students of the month were nominated by the Spanish department. And it's a really awesome sort of honor and celebration. The students get certificates, they get shouted out in their advisories, and then they come to the principal's office for a little ceremony, and we take pictures and we post them in the hallway, and it's a really great honor, and it really does a lot. It goes a long way to encourage students to keep that academic success, effort, enthusiasm up in all their subjects. Other things we do is celebrate our athletes of the month. These celebrations will also happen during our homeroom advisories. There'll be an announcement and slides and pictures and often video clips of like really awesome plays that took place in whatever PSAL sport is happening that season. Right now, we have volleyball and soccer are the big sports that are happening right now. Yeah, we can move on. Besides celebration, our students, we often just have a lot of other different kinds of events coming up. Next week is our first Spirit Week. You can see a picture on the bottom right. Things that we'll be doing by the day just to build school spirit. And we often will have sort of a competition around that. Maybe it's by advisory or by grade, where which grade or which advisory is participating the most will get points, and then they'll be tallied, and there'll be some sort of celebration, maybe a pizza party for that advisory or a special privilege for that grade. So those little things go a long way to get just kids engaged and wanting to hang out. We also have different sort of organizations coming in and having big events. We have a great long-running a relationship with Jazz at Lincoln Center. So they come every year, twice a year, and they do concerts in our school. For our 11th grade, we connected to our U.S. history curriculum in grade 11, as jazz is an American-born medium, and there's a lot of ways to connect it to our history. So it's just a wonderful thing. And if you've ever gone to Jazz at Lincoln Center in person, you know how awesome it is. And to have those same musicians coming to our school and how they do it, they perform, but they also like lecture and they weave the story in between all their performances of songs. It's really captivating, and the students love it. We talked about the career fair. We also have a club fair. It just took place in early October. We have lots and lots of clubs in our school, and at the club fair, sort of like a speed dating event, but it's or a science fair event where you have tables and setups. And you know, have representatives from each club, and they're trying to sell their club. And you have a lot of interested ninth graders looking to make connections, going to this event. All students go to the event, but it's really, really popular among the ninth graders. And you know, now the clubs are in full swing, and I was supervising today. The Wednesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays are big club days, and just all the things that were happening in the rooms and the enthusiasm of kids hanging out after school and taking part in different clubs that I saw this afternoon was pretty awesome. That's a little bit about things that go on school-wide. I guess we can go to the next slide. Oh, so I talked a little bit about trips, just a little bit more about trips. We have academic trips, we have club trips. We also have mental health wellness trips, grade-wide trips, school-wide trips. So we have sort of all different kind of bucket categories. Right now, in grade 10, we're gearing up for our Metropolitan Museum of Art trip. So each section of grade 10, about 30 kids at a time, go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art with our art teacher, and they get very, very guided, detailed, and a special, really, tour of the Metropolitan Museum of Art, which is a pretty awesome trip. Other club trips that are really a big highlight that come out every year is our Black and Latino Student Union goes to Washington, D.C. every year. That's a pretty cool trip, and there's some things that they repeat, but other things that they do differently, especially since we have students who are repeating that trip from year to year. You know, and then we do some other smaller trips that might be a little bit more elective. Like right now, we have a hiking trip that is a trip that is going on. It's sort of an extracurricular trip that's open to essentially all kinds of students, and if they're interested, they sign up. And you know, so it'll be like a small group going with a few teachers, and they're going to go on an awesome hike. So we have a lot, and then finally we have school-wide trip. You know, every year we end the year in the spring with a school-wide field trip to Asphalt Green on the Upper East Side, where we have a field day, and students are, you know, having fun together, engaging in organized activities in a competitive way, and celebrating each other and having a great time. So we like to keep it happening, like to keep it fun, and we organize a lot of trips from all different kinds of angles.
Thank you, Mr. Kaiser. He keeps setting me up perfectly to keep going with the same vibe, because extracurricular life really is a great extension of what's been happening lately. And like Mr. Kaiser said, we really like to keep it fresh and interesting. So I serve as the athletic director at Baruch. We're a small school, 480 students or so, but we do have quite a few teams. So we have 10 PSAL teams through the Public School Athletic League, at least 3 in each season. As Mr. Kaiser said, we have soccer and volleyball going on right now. It's the postseason, actually. And we're having tryouts next week for our winter sports teams. So we have boys and girls varsity basketball, but we also have a JV basketball team, and we have a varsity wrestling team. In the spring, we have both baseball and softball, as well as a varsity badminton team. Something that I should mention, PSAL is piloting an individual access program. So they're trying to increase students' access to sports that their school doesn't offer. So if your student comes into our school and wants to play a sport that we don't offer officially, and they turn in all of their eligibility forms, I'm able to request that the PSAL match us to a school that does offer it. It doesn't always work, but when it is possible, PSAL will match us. So just as an example, this year, or this season, I should say, we have several boys that are playing varsity football over at Stuyvesant. And in the spring last year, we had a whole crew of girls that was running track. And so we have different things. We have a winter swimming team that we just got access to for the first time. So from time to time, PSAL helps us broaden our athletics access. We're really proud of our sports teams. They're very high performing and successful. And we've had a lot of postseason runs. We've made it to the playoffs in almost every single sport the last few years. And we've got several championships under our belt, which I'm super duper proud of, most recently in boys varsity baseball. So that's a little bit about our athletics teams. And here's just some pictures you can see. We have a small school, but like I said, 10 teams. And I calculated last year because I was curious how many athletes we have, and we have more than 250 individually rostered players. So that's like, half our school at some point or another is involved in a PSAL team in some way, shape, or form. Our students also manage our teams, which is a great opportunity to be involved in sports if you're not interested in playing. I'm going to talk about our clubs, and we have so many. I think one of the themes of Baruch that hopefully is coming across really clearly to all of you listening is that we're very student-centered and student-driven. So year to year, our clubs do shift around. Some stay the same, but they change a lot. They're very dynamic because it's what the students want to have at Baruch. So what clubs are they interested in? Which kids in the building in a given moment have a passion and want to gather around that passion or that interest? So I like to think of the different kinds of clubs in categories like academic clubs, arts and leisure, community service, etc. And we think club life is so important because it adds value to their lives and helps them build skills, but it also connects them to each other. It is proven to increase attendance, right? Kids want to come to school for their extracurricular commitments. And so there's just a lot of energy put into keeping our student leadership and student membership in clubs strong. So I'm going to take you through a little walk of different kinds of clubs. Here we have our arts and leisure or sports rec clubs, and here's just a perfect example of how they change year to year. In the upper right-hand corner, those are 3 sophomores, so they're newer to our community, and they started an art of basketball club. They're going to gather and just talk about the love of the game and the art of the game. We also have a theater program, music club. That music club is fairly new. They're going to get together and just work through listening to different genres. They're thinking about throwing a concert. It's an idea they have. We're like, okay, let's see what that could look like. Art clubs, anime, Thread Revolution is new this year. They want to get together and sew and knit and things like that. Going to go on to the next set. We have a lot of identity clubs at Baruch, and this comes out of our students. Even though we are a very inclusive and diverse population, sometimes our students want to gather around the things that they share in common. So we have things like a Gay Straight Alliance, a Jewish Affinity Club, an Asian Affinity Club, and a Black and Latino Student Union. And those clubs meet among themselves and with allies to talk about the importance of their identity, maybe issues that they're facing as a community, maybe to celebrate something, to educate the rest of the community about an issue related to their identity group, all sorts of ways that they gather. And they often host events, either pop-up events in our lobby or special events like dances or celebrations. We have tons of service clubs. I like to think of them as in 2 different groups, sort of service to a group or a cause outside of Baruch, and then service within Baruch. So we do have things like Keep Club, which is of course a national organization, or Red Cross Club. They host a blood drive every year. But we also have community clubs that serve the kids right within the building, like our equity team that thinks about the different ways that students in our building are being treated with fairness, tolerance, and equally being empowered. We have things like our media team, which is run by students and does different segments and publicity of events, and they take photos and do interviews. We have a tech team that has professionals working in it, but also our students are a very active part of that tech team to make sure we have working technology in our classrooms, our student government, which is made up of kids from all different grades. So lots of different ways that our students working in the building are improving life at Baruch. We also have a Baruch Events Committee. Our parent coordinator, Ms. Grove, that organized today's virtual open house, is a very powerful leader in that community. And our Baruch Events Committee throws things like our Back to School Bash and our Community and Culture Day, opportunities for kids to come together and be joyful. Last but not least, our academic clubs. And these are clubs that come out of students' particular passions, skills, talents. So something like the investment club, where they want to look at stocks and finances, or Rock the Street, Wall Street, which does work with women on Wall Street. They come in and work with groups of young women in our school. We have a Model United Nations. A lot of our students that are interested in government and politics work with our Model UN advisor, and they attend the annual conference. We have a National Honor Society for upperclassmen, which is based on an application. They have to qualify based on their grades, but also on their willingness to step up as a leader and to serve the community. We have a really active and impressive journalism program. We call it our 411 Press. And our 411 Press is run by a teacher, Mr. Downs Angus, who has really revitalized it. We've always had a newspaper, but he also has an elective class where he teaches into journalism, and they publish a lot of articles. And each week, his journalism students gather together to think of new pitches and ideas. And within that 411 Press, there's different groups of students that dedicate themselves to particular media issues. Like we have the media lens that looks at popular culture, or we have the sports lens that looks at our athletics program. And then we also have the 411 Show, which is a weekly television segment that I mentioned earlier that we air in advisory, and kids interview each other about goings on in the building. They'll interview staff. Sometimes they do skits or short films, or comment on something that's going on, across the nation or the world. But it's a really, really cool thing.
Okay. So last but not least, this is going to just bring us to talk about admissions. And actually, Mr. Rico just mentioned the 411 Show. So if you'd like to stay on after our presentation, we'll play a little snippet of that. As I mentioned, you can hear some of our students. There's a cute segment where it was just filmed last week, I believe, and they're giving our 9th graders advice in the hallways. So very relevant, considering you're looking at starting high school soon. So in terms of admissions, I try to break it down and make this as understandable as possible. I recognize that you are looking at so many schools, and there are so many systems and things to take account for. So basically, at Baruch, we're pretty straightforward, I think. We are a screened program. So what that means is that all students do have to meet a criteria to be accepted to Baruch. And for us, it is just the algorithm that the Department of Education uses. So by now, what your tier is, whether it's priority group 1 or 2 or 3, based on your grades from 7th grade. And you've been assigned a lottery number. So that all happens outside of us. And then the computer basically just goes ahead, and based on the order that you've ranked our school, the preference that you've listed, your group and your lottery number, it will match our students. So it starts with anyone in group 1, and once those seats fill, it will move on to group 2, and then group 3, and so on until the seats are filled. The main thing to know about us is we do not require anything else. There is no interview, no essay, no application, no supplements. It's simply all you need to do is list us in your list of schools, and we will receive a list of who gets matched in the spring, and we will be excited to welcome our new class. In terms of our admissions groups, we have 2 groups. Even though our students all go to school together and they all take their classes together, the way admissions works, and this is with every school in New York City, is that our special education students are, because we need to set aside a certain percentage of seats for our special education program, those students do not compete for seats with our general education students. So that is a smaller group of students. And so in our regular program, historically, we have filled with group 1, priority 1. In our special education program, we have moved outside of group 1 because there's just less competition, I guess I would say, even though it's still a lot of applicants. The other thing to know is that we are part of the diversity and enrollment program. So approximately 60% of our seats are priority to families that meet that criteria, but also meet our admissions criteria. And starting with this year's in the current 9th grade class and continuing, we are 75% priority to Manhattan. So there's a lot of factors. I don't do the algorithm, but they do say from the admissions that when you log into my schools and you look at our school, there will be, it'll show you what your chances are of getting a match. And that's based on all this data, right? What's your group? What borough do you live in? Do you have an IEP? Do you qualify for the diversity enrollment program? And it'll let you know what your chances are of getting into the school. And they say that's really the best way for you to know and make a decision about how you're ranking all your schools. What I like to say is if you like us, and we hope you do, put us on your list. You never know from year to year how things will go. And if all goes not the way you planned, do not despair, because we have taken students off the wait list. We have a lot of movement. There's so many factors, whether a student chooses to go to a specialized school or moves out of the city. There's movement over the summer, and we often take in some students off the wait list. So there's always opportunities to come to our school, and I hope that helps you navigate this process. So we look forward to hopefully meeting you in the fall. And there's going to be a lot of information on our website. As we said, this will be recorded and shared. And I'm going to close out with that video as we promised. And thank you again for joining us. And we hope you enjoy.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Megan. Here at the 401 Show, we keep you updated and feature in your advisory. You'll see skits, interviews, and reports from our cast.
Hi, I'm Isla. We created this show here at Baruch to build our community. We celebrate our accomplishments, our Baruchians, and our teachers.
Hey, and I'm Alex. We are so excited to run and produce this show, and we hope to make your year just a bit better. Now come follow me.
Welcome to the 401 Show!
Good morning, Baruch. This is our official news station. Today we'll begin talking about our fall sports and captains.
Our sports teams are doing great this year. Captain Aldi has led our boys soccer team to win 4 games. Come celebrate them during their senior night, October 16th, East River Park Field number 2 at 4 p.m.
Captains Isla Finley and Tina Wu have led the girls volleyball team to go 4-0. They will hold their senior night the 27th of October at Lewis Brandy's High School Gym.
Captains Veronica Rossi and Eliza Gannon have led the girls soccer team to win 6 games. They are guaranteed a spot in playoffs and will hopefully secure the win for Baruch.
Baruch's Club Fair is coming up on October 14th. It's a great opportunity to check out all of our amazing student-run clubs, of which there are over 20. Also, if you're interested in a leadership position, Asian Affinity and GSA are both looking for club presidents.
We are also happy to announce that we have a lot of new teachers this year. Students have already been introduced to Mr. Sanchez, Mr. Jin, Ms. Gomez, and Ms. Aquino. A more recent change is that Ms. Davis and Ms. Phillips will be stepping in for Ms. Eisner until early November while she is out.
Seniors, your regulators will still be dealt with. Make sure to reach out and get to know your counselor. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. Bye!
Hello Baruch, my name is Julian A. and I'm your field reporter for today. As we settle into the new school year, we'd like to ask some advice from our upperclassmen for our little freshmen. Hi, what's your name?
Katie.
Katie, do you have any advice for freshmen?
Bring your own lunch because the food around here is expensive.
Definitely don't procrastinate on your work, at least freshman year, because it's like the easiest to get your GPA, up to the highest, so don't procrastinate.
The chicken tenders from the lunch is good. It's really good.
Fire.
Don't be like judgy. Try to make connections with your classmates, You're getting through the next 4 years with them, so.
Like us.
Why are we still here?
I would advise freshmen to get their work done the day that it's assigned so it doesn't catch up with you, and you can be more productive like that.
Okay.
To build connections with your teachers.
Facts.
I would say join sports teams because they give an opportunity to make new friends, and who knows, you could have a future for it. So I recommend Joining sports, yeah.
Participate in Spirit Day.
Do I have any advice for freshmen? Of course. Get a good night's sleep.
Okay. Yeah, when there's any traffic in the staircase or the hallway, just keep to one side and, keep it pushing to avoid more traffic.
My advice for freshmen would be not to be late to school, because that's a habit may or may have not built over the years. So please come to school on time, because if you're not in class, then you're not learning.
Facts. Thank you, Mr. Sanchez.
Okay, this concludes our presentation. Thank you very much. And we're going to close the Zoom. Have a great night.